we have contended for some time now that the drilling and blasting is dangerous to our homes, our businesses, our environment, and ultimately our future. We requested in the beginning, when the complaints were first made and the letters were first written, actually what the initial request was is that the government do the necessary regulating and testing with the everyday operation of the quarry. That it was revealed at that time that such regulating and investigating and day-to-day operation was not being carried out. I would like to know if that is being carried out now, if the government is consistently monitoring what is being done out there, every phase of it, whether it be from the blasting or the digging or the whatever else. And the questions that were asked, such as questions concerning the future of the water table in West Grand Bahama, and the actual question concerning the claims that residents made that there were damages being done to their homes. The former Minister of Energy and the Environment, Dr. Marcus Bethel, had an investigation conducted by the local department here. And we have never seen any reports of that investigation or anything of that nature. But like I said, we know that the government acquired their own portable seismograph equipment, and at one point that equipment used to be in the Harbor West area every time the blasting took place. That isn't being done anymore. Like I said, one of the main concerns is the government monitoring what is going on at the quarry on a daily basis.
There's no daily monitoring of what's going on at the quarry by the government. Subsequent to all of this starting, the Grand Bahama Port Authority established an environmental office. It is staffed, and they are doing monitoring. There's some degree of dispute as to whether, under the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, authority is delegated to issue permits for mining. That is a matter we are getting clarified by the Attorney General's office, because the previous permits for mining were issued here in Grand Bahama. This extension across the harbor, the Grand Bahama Port Authority realizes, not only because of the long history of complaints, but given the sensitive nature of the mangrove, they realize that continued mining has widespread implications, and they themselves want to know what the consequences of that would be. That's why they insisted on the EIA. I should say to you that it wasn't the government that made this first insistence, it was the Grand Bahama Port Authority. We have stepped in, meaning the government, and following the review of the EIA, issues such as damage to the home, damage to the water table, damage to the fishery, the sustainability of the road thoroughfare, the views of the community, and the social impact will be thoroughly evaluated, and together we will have to make a determination as to the best way forward. I cannot go beyond that.
So will there be another or an extension of the investigation on behalf of the government?
The EIA report that we have is complete. It's 4 volumes. It's a well-done report. Once the assessment of that report is completed, that will tell the government what else it needs to do, if anything, and how it can best manage any environmental consequences from what is going on in the harbor, what is proposed to go on, or what needs to happen to alter what has happened, or whether or not any further permits should be issued. The EIA would tell us all of that once we have evaluated it.
And the EIA is strictly done by Bahama Rock. What I'm saying is it was not an independent entity
you're confusing two things now. They're required to do an EIA based on the guidelines provided by the government. Once their company, which is certified, does it, the government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority separately and independently hire an evaluation team to review it. The government has a team called Black and Beach. The Grand Bahama Port Authority has another team. They will conduct independent evaluations, and they will bring in experts as they need to evaluate the EIA that has been submitted and make judgments as to whether it's deficient, sufficient, or whether it went far enough in addressing the concerns that was initially given to them to look into. And the scope of the EIA itself covered 6 pages. The completed EIA covers 4 volumes. Sir.
Minister, albeit that thing might be very voluminous, but I'm sure the Best Commission or your ministry, somebody has already gone through to peruse that report. Are you in a position to say if there are any concerns, initial, that our government has with respect to the continuation of the mining?
We have not gone through the report yet. Ordinarily, I would read those things myself. I saw it for the first time today, and the one I saw was in ours.
Mr. Deveaux,
Sir.
are you aware of the hairline fracture that runs through the island of Grand Bahama?
I've heard of it.
You heard of it? Do you know there's an opening under the Bahama chain running into the Florida Straits also?
I've heard of that.
What damage, if you can answer this, sir, does this mining does to our island on a continuous basis of the blasting? What does that do to our island in the process of Bahama Rock carrying on this work? That's one question, if you can answer. The second part of it, sir, is that how far, as the Minister of the Environment, how far would this blasting take this trembling, per se, on the island of Grand Bahama, and is it creating any other problems anywhere else in Grand Bahama because of the hairline fracture? Or the opening that runs in straight into the Florida Straits? Because I'm wondering now, of my own initiative, is when we have these hurricanes and so forth, is the opening underneath is creating these surges that come in and cave us like it did on the previous hurricanes? Is this causing this problem also, sir?
I'm aware from notional information about the hairline fracture. I have no idea whether the blasting is affecting it adversely or at all. There are ways to measure that, and I believe the seismographic analysis will tell us, to the best of our ability, what's happening. But we have a place made by God called the glass wind in Eleuthera. The force of the ocean coming to the glass wind in Eleuthera has created more changes in our geology than anything else I'm aware of. You think that may be causing the hairline fracture to open too?
The hairline fracture?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there's a hairline fracture in Eleuthera.
I'm speaking about the one in the Bahamas.
Oh, the one that runs underneath it. Okay, I don't know. The reason why I'm asking you, sir, is because my father does the reading in West End. One of the readings are here in Grand Bahama, and it's located in West End, where we take the reading for the GPS and the tide gauging, and we notice the difference in it as we send it to Hawaii, University of Hawaii, on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And we see where there's a dropping of different spaces on the island. And this is why I'm asking you, sir, in your ministry, if you are there, and you could give us some answers to that, sir.
I don't have the answer. I am glad that you raised the subject. One thing I always seek to do in meetings such as this, when I'm asked questions like that, is to remind you we're from the same place, from the same stock, and endowed with the same genetic code. What you know, I know. And when you put me here, I don't go through a room and become automatically smarter.